moment that I really don't need to be talking to the Rotary Club, because y'all know everything there is to know about county government. And to all of my partisan friends out there, I want to say to you, this is not a partisan talk. In fact, the steering committee for the unit road system's adoption is made up of 5 Democrats, well-known, and 5 lesser-known Republicans. And so anyway, I don't want you to get offended in any way. This is informative, I hope. The unit road system has been around a long time on the legislative books, and some counties have had it a long time. That's not true with Angelina County. I first started working on trying to get the unit road system adopted back in 2005. So now it's just part of my bucket list. And so I hope you all will give me the opportunity to try to explain what this system is. It shouldn't be complicated. The unit road system, if you'll think about it, is exactly like the one that the city of Lufkin has, and most every city has a unit road system. They don't divide their cities up in precincts and put them under people who don't know what they're doing, particularly in building roads. And so when you think about this, this is not unusual at all. There are about 65 or more counties in the state that have the unit road system. Nacogdoches, which I'll be referring to a lot today, has had it for a number of years, and it's extremely successful for them. And they're similar in size, and their attitudes are probably about like ours, which I think is very good. So let me start with a couple of things that are acknowledged by basically everybody. Angelina County has the worst roads that it's ever had. Even the county commissioners will acknowledge that. They acknowledge that because they're trying to get a whole lot more money. And they think that the answer to fixing the roads, like everything else, is just more money. Just need more money. And nothing could be further from the truth. It's be acknowledged even by people in Angelina County that Nacogdoches probably has the best roads ever imaginable. And it's a great comparison. The way that the unit road system operates, let me tell you how the existing system is. We have 4 commissioners. Each of them have their own budget for roads. They don't have their own budget for landfill or the health department or anything else but just roads. And we're probably responsible for that. I know when I was even a young man, we always referred to them as the road commissioner. That was really the only connection that most people, particularly rural people, had with them, was in fixing the roads. So that's what we expected of them. And I remember well that what we really expected of our commissioner was he'd be able to drive and maintain it. We've passed that some time back, and so now Angelina County has a budget of about $30 million. So there's a lot of financial information that the commissioners should be able to digest and work on. The county road budget, or roads and bridges, is about, normally it's a little over $4 million. Okay, so you need to keep these numbers, so I'm going to give you some numbers in a few minutes to compare it with. Each of these commissioners are very independent. I would dare to say that none of the other commissioners are going to know what one commissioner or the other one does. How they spend their money or whatever. What they do, they take a certain amount, say $4 million, and they divide it up among themselves based on some kind of an arbitrary number about how many miles one has as opposed to the other one. And the miles are a lot different. Kermit Kennedy one of the commissioners has about 31 miles of rural road. And Terry Pitts has about 250 miles of road. Bobby Cheshire has somewhere in that same neighborhood. So anyway, these commissioners are really only, I think, responsible to themselves. They wind up with a budget, and we know that they spend within that budget all that they can get. Problem is, we don't know where it goes. We don't know if it's applied to a particular road or whatever. It's an open door for graft and any other kind of thing. We just don't know, and I'll tell you how it is that we don't know how they spend the money. Nacogdoches has a very, not complicated, a very exhaustive report that's made every month under the unit road system. And it will be explicit as to every road in the county, every time that the county goes there, if they go to make an inspection, if they go to put rock on it, they know exactly, record how many yards of rock and how many miles of road that they grade. It's really exhaustive. I have a copy of that if anybody'd like to see it. It's just superior. The commissioners obviously none of them are for doing away with their existing system and going to the unit road system. And that's primarily because it's a power base for them. Their people that live in their community have to depend upon them. And generally, they get their road fixed quickly if they're going to vote for them. And just frankly, that is the way it's always worked. I'm not just talking about these commissioners, but it's a pay for roads type of thing. And so I've spent a lot of time looking at the budgets of both Angelina County and Nacogdoches County. And it's just horrendous how little you know about what these commissioners spend the money on. There's many complaints, obviously, because the roads are just in horrendous shape. But they can't find out, what are they going to do, when they're going to get the road fixed, or if they're ever going to get the road fixed. And so they're very, very frustrated. People are really angry in this county about the condition of the roads. The road system, on the other hand, is just the fact that the Commissioners Court has to unify all the roads in the county under one particular department. And that's like, say Lufkin does this, almost every other place that you know of does that, and they have to hire a professional man to operate. Either it's a road engineer or a road supervisor, somebody that's really had a lot of experience in roads. And that individual is hired by the commissioners themselves. His salary is set by the commissioners themselves. His budget is set by the commissioners themselves. So they still have complete control over it. Now, they want to tell you that, oh no, this guy's, it's going to be bad. But if it's bad, it's going to be because they didn't hire the right guy or they didn't help him. And we had a man here the other day that came and spoke. He's kind of an expert, he is an expert on the unit road system. And he said, unit road system depends on two things. One, the commissioners and how much they want to make it work and how well they work under this department. And the person that they hire. And that's easy enough. That's the way it works. The city commission and the city manager in Lufkin have to hire a good man to run the street department, or else you're not going to get very good results. So the thing about the unit road system is it really will do three things. It will provide better roads. Figure that these commissioners, and they change regularly, pretty regularly, not regularly enough. One of them may know a little bit about roads, may have a good foreman, but he doesn't know anything about how to build a road. And so that's why our roads are in such horrendous shape. You know, a good portion of the roads are still dirt roads. Dirt roads require good drainage above all things. You've got to have drainage. If you don't have drainage, water's going to run down the road, middle of the road, and it's going to destroy whatever you put on it. They don't seem to know that. Pretty basic, but that's kind of the case. So you can be assured that you're going to have better roads because the road manager is going to make an assessment of all the roads, treat them all fairly and equally based on the need and the cost and everything to fix those roads. And then he reports once a month on exactly what he did on every road. Nacogdoches, for instance, has a computer in every person who has a vehicle. Now, I'm not talking about a road grader or whatever, but in the other vehicles. And they log in every time they go look at a road, every time they send somebody out to fix one, who goes, what they do, how many miles of blading they do, how many yards of rock that they put on it, if they put a culvert in. Everything is recorded on every road that requires anything to be done to it. There are no reports done by Ypsilanti County. Back it up. There's one report that they're required by law to file in September of every year. And it's supposed to be filed, it's called a road condition report. Under the legislature statute, they're required to file this report to give the condition of the roads, every road in their precinct. And what's it going to cost? What's the reasonable cost of maintenance of the road for the following year? So all that's obviously for purposes of trying to set their budget. That's why it's required in September. That's been required since 1997. They have now, this year, filed only 4 times they've ever filed a report. This is serious enough that the legislature required that this report be filed with the grand jury. Now, the grand jury doesn't know what to do with it and never have done anything with it. But here's one of their reports. I've had to go through and get through an open records request, get copies of these reports. And I'll give you an example of one. They have a form fixed up and has a column, and it's got every road listed in their precinct. And so they all do this. Answer: good, bad, poor, fair. That's their explanation of the road condition. That's it. That's all. I mean, you don't know anything. You don't even know what fair means. You don't know what poor means. Nothing. That's it. And then they put a number down and they don't do it together. They each want to do numbers. So let's give you an example. Mr. Pitts said his budget's about $1.4 million, something like that. He filled out his, and he's done this every year, and they come up with a number that you don't know where it comes from, but he says, remember, his budget is $1.4 million or $5 million, something like that. He says that the reasonable cost of maintenance of those roads in his precinct for the next year is $14,900,000 and some odd thousand dollars. Bobby Cheshire's said his roads are going to require $8,500,000 for the next year. Nobody knows where to get these numbers. They just pull them out of the hat. It's the lamest thing I've ever seen in my life. And they use them for no purpose. They're supposed to use them for budgeting. They never see them, they never see the light of day unless you file a open records request, which is what I did. It's nothing professional about anything that they do on this. But that would change with the unit road system. The other thing that the unit road system do, it will save money. One, you get the roads built the right way. They have to bid everything that comes through like it is right now. The commissioners, they just got $2 million for this year. They've just voted a tax note, $6 million. Now, nobody knows how they came up with that number. They listed their roads. They put a number down. All of them did it independently of each other, put their numbers down. It came out to be about $5,800,000. So they couldn't get a tax increase, which is what they wanted. And so they just went through with a tax note and borrowed $6 million. $2 million of which for this year, $2 million next year, they say, and $2 million the next year. Nobody's going to know where that money goes, but we know they got it, and we're sure they're going to spend it. That's the extent of it. What we have here, and some of these numbers just make your blood boil. Nacogdoches has 820 or 30 miles of road. We got 720 miles of road. Nacogdoches, under the unit road system, has 72 pieces of equipment. Okay. Angelina County, with 100 miles less, has 127 pieces of heavy equipment. I mean, this duplication, I mean, that's what it is. I want this in my precinct, and I want this for my precinct. The other one will scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and so on. And they just buy whatever they want to buy. They don't share it among each other. They just use whatever they want to get. And some of them, like Mr. Cheshire, to get around the budgeting process, he's bought $1,400,000 worth of equipment on leases, leasing equipment. And that way he only has to account for just the cost, annual cost of the payments on the lease. There's a jillion ways to get around it if you don't have any transparency or accountability. And I promise you there is none. The bidding process, which we all believe that our county officials ought to be bidding out everything that they do, that they're buying. Each commissioner can buy anything that they want to without a bid, anytime, and as many times as they want to, if it's under $50,000. Now, multiply that times 4 commissioners, well, that's $200,000, and they can do it 10 times a month if they wanted to. Now, you got to realize they're still going to have to go within whatever that budget is, but you don't know where it's going to go, and so they get around having to bid all this material. Right now, this $6 million that they borrowed was, they said, for material, road surface material. All of them buy their material, most of them buy it from different places, different people. And some of them may be people that they have a relationship with that's not going to be understood or seen. And it's kind of like buying, leasing some of this equipment, just an open door for corruption. So we'll save money by bidding and stopping the use of duplications in equipment and even in personnel. Now, I think that the personnel will still be required because our roads are so bad. They're going to need probably more people, more employees than less. And the third thing is transparency. And I've been talking to you a little bit about transparency. You would think somewhere, and believe me, I have looked, and I've asked for everything that I know how to ask for. There's not a single report I can find anywhere to the other commissioners or the commissioner's court during the year, other than this road condition report that I told you about a while ago. It's just outrageous. They don't report whether or not they have how much rock they put on anybody's road, and that's what everybody wants to know. What are you doing for my road? You're not doing anything. Well, you can't find out. If they said, well, we were out there last week, there's no proof of any of that. So, you know, where does it go? Let me, I have a copy of both budgets from Nacogdoches and Angelina County. And if you want to look at this, the most comprehensive, this entire thing here is the road report for 1 month for every road in Nacogdoches County. And I'll just give you an example. Here is Cason Russell Road in June. June the 5th, they checked the road and tree was flagged, a problem. On the 10th, they checked the road again. On the 10th, they also hauled in 4 loads of clay, 1 load of check the road again, check the road again, check the road again. So on 620, they checked the road again, and on 620, they also bladed the road. It'll tell you exactly how many miles, that was a half a mile, a road. Everything that everything that they do is recorded. And you can get it just like that. It's amazing. Let me just talk to you. Their complaint, the commissioner's complaint, and basically the people that are opposed to this are the people who work for them. And I understand they've been told all kind of things, and so they're out there fighting against it. Think that they may lose their job. Probably will if they don't fight it. The road budget for this is expenditures. I'm looking at it right off of Nacogdoches budget for this year. Is $4,421,702. Okay, that's their budget. $4,400,000. Angelina County's budget is $6,143,000. So $6,143,000. $2 million more. Now they say, well, we needed it, and so we borrowed that money, and we divided that $6 million up to 3 years. And so this year we got $2 million more. So their expenditures for this year in Angelina County, $6,143,000, and Nacogdoches is $4,431,000. Now what they say, without looking at any statistics, and they don't know what the statistics is. I don't even think they know what their own statistics are. They don't have any really speaking of it. But the statistics speak loud and clear that we're spending so much more, and they're saying, well, if we hire this individual to be the road manager, it's going to definitely cause a tax increase. Well, we can hire that individual for somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000. Nacogdoches does. That's what they do. And they may need an assistant. So, okay, so it costs $125,000 to add this person. That's the only person they're going to have to add. They're going to reshuffle some of the people that they have from different places and things like that. That's the additional cost. There was an article in the paper, and Terry Pitts and I were kind of pitted against each other. And he says, to make the transition to the unit road system, we would certainly have to implement a tax increase and a redistribution of our budget. Well, Nacogdoches, when they went to it, didn't have a tax increase. They're doing it for almost $2 million less than we're doing with 100 miles more road. It's just a red herring. There's no reason why it should be a tax increase. If they're more efficient, which is what we would expect to have out of a single person who knows what they're doing, that's deciding about which roads need to be fixed and which not, and get the politics out of it, then we'll be able to have much better roads. So transparency is certainly something that's absolutely critical. And if we can get the people to understand, it sounds complicated if you don't know anything about it. And I know now you all will know everything you need to know about it. And so we need to be sure that we get to pass the unit road system. And it's really a good financial decision, and it's a good decision for roads in Angelina County. So I'd like to open it up for any questions that anybody might have if we have time. Do we have? Oh, we got a lot of time. One thing I wanted to mention to you, I put an article that was in Sunday's paper, a full-page ad talking about the things that are setting the record straight, basically. So I invite you to take a copy that's back there on the way out. I think it'll answer a lot of questions. And I know there've been a lot of questions. Somebody had a question. Roger?
Hey, Bob, so the person that's over the unit, whoever Nacogdoches hired to be over this program,
right.
Who does that person report to?
To commissioners. To the commissioners.
So,
Yeah, they act on it as a unit over him. They give oversight to that. In Nacogdoches, they set one commissioner kind of in charge to have direct oversight.
Okay.
And they'll set one for the county jail or whatever it is, all those kinds of things. Yeah, but if this thing doesn't work, it's gonna be the commissioner's fault. They either didn't hire the right guy, they can fire this guy. They talk like, well, he gets in there and he's gonna raise the cost and we're gonna have to increase the taxes. They don't tell you. They hired him, they can fire him, and they should if he's not doing a good job. So, it's ridiculous. Tom?
Clarification, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Is probably the most qualified person, if she's still in the neighborhood, is not a guy,
Debbie?
but it's a lady by the name of Cheryl Flood, who was the
Oh, that's true
district
too.
engineer.
That's true too.
And so the new district engineer right now, times have changed, is that the new district engineer is also a young lady who is doing it. So it's not about hiring the right guy, it's hiring the right person.
I actually, in some of my stuff, I did he or she, so, but apologize that I,
But, I mean, we have some
Been kind of-
people that have recently retired that are still fairly young, that are eminently qualified.
absolutely, oh,
To do
absolutely.
that job and have worked for the highway department for years and know what they're doing, so. I'm not,
Tom, I'm not sure what mansplaining is. I've heard that recently, maybe that's what I was doing. I'm not sure.
I just.
If that's what I was doing,
Bob, I gotta keep you in line.
I know, I would apologize if I knew what that meant. Okay, Roger? Yes, sir.
I've sat through many commissioner court meetings.
Oh, sure.
And never, yeah, me too, but never have I seen such a contentious, I guess I shouldn't say this, but a contentious group of men and court that I've seen in Angelina County. And so, I just say that as kind of a statement, but my question is this: as voters, if we voted this thing in, what are we gonna see? I know it's gonna take a while for logistics and semantics to work out and all that kind of stuff to get this thing going, but what would we see in 2021 different than, other than transparency, what could we see that the county's doing to move in that direction in 2021?
Well, it all depends on the commissioners, if they're willing to work on this. Unfortunately, we've got one commissioner just hired, took Greg Harrison's place, that came from the highway department. And so he's probably gonna be a breath of fresh air for us to have him operating as one of the commissioners, to have oversight over all this. So I expect that it will take a while. There will be a lot of excuses. They vehemently don't want this thing to happen.
But the judge does. It seems like the
Judge is for it, but he doesn't have any say.
Right.
I mean, the commissioners make all the decisions. He gets to vote if there's a tie, and that's really about it. So, no, it's just the commissioner. The problem is that the commissioners are never going to be on the same page. They all have their own little fiefdom, their little kingdom, 4 little kingdoms, and they protect it with everything they get now. And they don't want anybody interfering with it. And it's twofold. One is the political implications that go with it. The other thing is they don't have an open budget. And it is an open budget. We know it's going to be $4 million that they're going to have to spend. And some of it's obviously going to be allocated to personnel, things like that. But anyway, they pretty well do whatever they want to do. And you can see that. Bobby Cheshire, for instance, has been in the paper the last few days. And if you saw the last meeting that they had on closing a road, I mean, he's decided that a public road should be closed. And so he went down there and locked the gate, put a gate on, locked it. County commissioner now. Don Glover, who works for Senator Nichols, has a road near the Airstream Trailer Park down out of Zavala there. And she'd built a little bed and breakfast type thing, so I know a little bit about it. And her road was horrible, has been for a long time. He would not fix it, wouldn't fix it. So she did everything in the world. And so he finally got mad at her for keeping bringing it up. So he just goes out there and takes a dump truck load of rock and dirt, drops it in the middle of the road so nobody can go down the road. So she sued him. And there's another lady that's done the same thing here. But this is the kind of power that they think that they have. And we got to stop this. Yes?
Okay, so please forgive my ignorance, because I don't know a lot about county government. But
Okay.
Who is over them? Is there any, other than the voters who elect them?
Over the commissioners?
Over the commissioners?
Nobody. That's correct.
That's it? Just
That's
the
it.
voters?
And you got to wait 4 years. You got to wait 4 years to change one of them. Tom?
Well, from leadership Lufkin back in prehistoric time,
Yeah.
one of the things that was very eye-opening was the beauty of local government and our system of government is you have the opportunity to be a very squeaky wheel. And you have the opportunity, there's a lot of other legal, non-harassing options that are out there that you have to influence what they do. And letters to the editor, talking to people, talking to other organizations, is that it's not a one and done type thing like, in November you vote and you don't see people in Washington for another 2 years. They drive up and down the road, you have influence because they're local. But it's going to take effort. You can't just say somebody else is going to do it. You need to go out there and get involved and talk to them and say, look, this was passed. We expect you to step up to the table and comply with what the voters want.
Well, so I guess to further that question, that was what I was asking. If this gets passed, who is going to hold them accountable? I mean, it's going to have to be us.
Sure.
To make sure they implement it correctly.
Sure, that's correct. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, they've got complete control. They control the budget for the sheriff's department. They control the budget for the health department. You name it. Airport. They are the sole overseer over their budget.
Bob, that's
Wayne?
what I was going to ask, kind of similar to Kate's question, but is there any repercussions if, say, we do pass this and, it happens, but then they don't want to comply? Like what ultimately, what would we be able to do then? And outside of that, does it require them to be any more transparent about what they're doing?
Well, the answer is still the voting box, and that's a long way off for everybody. And most people there, they're 2 years on. Some of them you have to go like Cheshire and whatever. But no, that's where it comes down to. They're just not doing what they're ordered to do. I appeared before them a couple of occasions, and I basically got on my knees and begged them to put this into effect. They could have done it themselves, and they all of them refused to do it. Obviously, the judge didn't vote on it; he was for it. But so what they made us do, the law says if they won't adopt it themselves, then we had to go out and get 10% of the registered voters, the number that voted in the last governor's election. And that turned out to be 2,670 people. So we went out, and we could have got 10,000 if we'd had time, but we got 3,400 signatures. And then they had no choice but to put it on the ballot. And they made us do this at a time when COVID wasn't very helpful either. Trying to go out, contact people and get them signed up on these things. It's just terribly selfish and very difficult. So, yes, Al?
Well, what's the difference in the way the system is set up in Nacogdoches here toward we as citizens? Of course, I guess we could all somehow or the other get together, but there's got to be a way to make that happen. I mean, even if it's a long-term fix, not a short-term fix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the law says that they shall do this, that they shall do it. In Nacogdoches, it was a number of years before they actually implemented it for some of these same reasons. But if you could talk to the county judge or probably any of the commissioners over there, particularly the road supervisor, which I've met with and talked to all of them, and they will tell you it is the best thing that the county has ever done. And its proof is in the roads, but it's also in the way that they manage it and the transparency that you have over there. So, and it's been difficult in a number of different places to get it functional. But it's real simple. There are a lot of good people out there, whether it's Gerald Flood or Debbie Fitzgerald or whoever. There's lots of people that would be experienced enough that they could hire for a reasonable amount and put them in charge of it. They know how you build a road, they know what material you got to buy, they do all the buying, all the bidding. Everything is done through one person, so everybody gets gets what they need. But it's irrespective of whatever county it's in. You've got some counties that have somebody like a Bobby Cheshire that's going to do what he wants to do, regardless. He doesn't care about anything like that. And so it's pretty hard to get them to agree to do anything just because the law says so.
I think that, to Tom's point, we the people have a right to an open meeting and to go to county commissioner court and to vote and to stand up, okay, to your point. We have to stand up to what we believe, and the only way to do that is let your voice be heard.
But Roger, let's have a test. We'll start with Glenda. Tell us who your county commissioner is. Most of these people in this room have no idea who their county commissioner is. This is crazy, but we don't.
You're right. No, you're right.
Well, part of the problem is, I mean, you may know who your own is, but generally you don't know who the others are because they don't have anything to do with your precinct. They don't care about your precinct. So all four of them only care about one precinct. And they say, well, that means I've got time and I go out here and I run these roads and I'm looking out for you and I'm doing all this stuff. No, they're looking out for themselves. And this independence, this is just crazy. You'd have a single budget under the unit road system. You could look at anything that's spent, everything that's done, and you would be able to follow it. But you cannot follow it in Angelina County. Yes, sir, Pastor.
So is this just a new season, or is this historic in Angelina County? It's always been like this?
Always been like this.
All right.
Yeah, we worked on it. Like I say, I first started working on it in 2005, but we didn't get it done that time. And we've wanted to do it ever since then. But I have personally interviewed, I imagine, every person that has run for county commissioner with a one question: would you be for the unit road system? Universally, every one of them has said, oh yeah, I'll be for it. And then they get in there and they're the king then, and they're not for it. So that's the way it's worked. But this is a lot of money, and it's your money. I mean, most of the people in the city of Lufkin probably pay 40% of all the county taxes. You may not drive on the county roads very often, but you're funding whatever is being done, good or bad. So anyway, it's very important for all of us in the county. Please take one of those things in the back. It'll probably answer some other questions you have. We just try to come up with what do people really wonder about this thing, and I think that'll answer a whole lot of it, a lot of what I've gone over here today. And if you have any questions about Nacogdoches or anything else, it's great. I'll tell you two other things. Talk to the county judge in Smith County, Tyler. They have the unit road system. And he said, I'll come down there and I'll make speeches for you. It's the greatest thing that we've ever done in Smith County. Now they got 1,100 and some odd miles of county road. Talked to the county judge in Washington County, Bremen. He said the same thing. He said, we just never got here till we finally got here, and we really see this just the greatest thing. We know where everybody is, what they're doing, if they're taking off because of rain, or if they're sitting around, whatever. They have to account for every hour of their time. So I'll be glad to show you some of these. Anything else? Thank you for your attention. What do I get? I thought we get a glass or something.
Oh, we do.
No,
Well,
I'm kidding. I have lots of glasses.